Hey everyone, this is TurwaithionX and welcome to the first iteration of Steel Hunter for the year. This is a game mode which, well, certainly at least this time I will really probably not be playing much, purely because the rewards are not that good, and in terms of profitability I can at least do, I feel like a fair bit better in random games with premium tanks. Anyway, at the start of this game I spawned in the French light tank, the Harlequin, and I was hoping to get a bit of a third party action going on this Raven and Vialia, but unfortunately for me, this Raven decided to focus me, and I made a little bit of a misplay here just sitting in front of him and was quite slow to repair. So I ended up taking a good 650 damage from this guy at the start of the game, and while I felt like I could probably still third party him, it looked like the Viag was looking at me, and so I just thought, well, I got a little bit of damage. I upgraded a little bit, so let's go and get the heal and start getting myself on a good path to victory, hopefully, at least. Now, in this game, it's really going to be a showcase of one of the ways that you can play this game. There are really a couple of ways that you can do quite well in Steel Hunter. The first one is taking the fight to the enemy team, looking for those 1v1 situations, or looking for the situations where there's already tanks going 1v1, which you can just third party. And those are really done best in some of the medium tanks like the Raven, Harbinger, Huracan, and the heavy tanks. It's a bit sketchy. You really got to try use those hit points, but your damage per minute is often quite low. Now you see here for the first upgrade, I go for the radio detection range, which is an interesting choice. I really used to like going for the detection cooldown purely just to spot things faster, but then I realized if you do that, you get yourself into so many situations where you just can't see any drops, or you can't see any enemies until it's really too late to do anything about them if you don't feel like you are upgraded enough. So I often go, look at this, look at the range there, but I often go for the detection range purely for that, and it's really, the cooldown's not too bad. It's workable. You can go get like 3 or 4 drops, and you know where they are, so it's fine. And you can make your plays based around where you see those enemies at. Anyway, on the Harlequin, I also like to go for top speed. Generally, it can be a bit hard to control over hills, just like you see there, but going at that 90 kilometers an hour top speed, and it has the engine power to get there, it feels wild, really. Anyway, I want to get this green drop, get myself a bit more upgraded. In Steel Hunter, the green drops give you 300 upgrade points, and the yellow ones only give you 200. But the yellow ones also give you those consumables, whereas the green ones give you ammunition as well as heal. They heal you. Harlequin has 2 gun upgrade options for the first lot. It's got the double gun or the autoloader. I used to take the autoloader, I think a lot of people do, but the double gun, having that sustained DPM to keep your enemies out of those upgrade circles, is actually really quite useful. It's also got a little bit better pen, I believe, and it hits harder. Even with APCR rounds, it hits harder, which is really nice. Now I see here a Raven, which looks like it's already got the top turret. Whether we see that Raven again later in this game remains to be seen. But I just thought, I don't have any of the Harwar turret upgrades. There is no way I want to face them. At this point, there are 14 tanks left, 6 tanks have already been killed. And I just thought, if there's a third party, I will take it. But apart from that, I want to run around getting a few drops. At least get my hull upgraded, if not my turret upgraded, to have a few more hit points to be able to fight. Because 1,000 hit points when people have the gun upgrades is just, it does not go very far. And fortunately for me, I'm on this yellow drop collecting, and an airdrop appears right in front of me. And as I just scanned, I know that there's no enemies close, so I can just sit here and wait for this airdrop to come. And it's these sort of things which are really valuable, particularly for late game, because they give you so many consumables. If you can manage to get through Steel Hunter and have these 5 and 6 key consumables for late game, it is insane. Now you can see here I go for the mobility hull on this. I don't always, there are sometimes I go for the hit points, but it's just big and chunky, and I felt like in this sort of matchup with, at least initially, there were a number of medium and light tanks, and I could probably outcircle the heavy tanks a little bit more easily with the mobility. I just felt like it was going to be a lot more beneficial for me here. Particularly as it probably pairs better with that top speed upgrade, whereas if I went for the dynamics upgrade, which just increased engine power a bit more, hit points is probably a little bit more viable. And that's probably more the case for a map such as the City one, whatever its name is. I forget. Anyway, again, here with the radio range, you can see really quite useful, spawning a lot of things there. And at this point, I am playing this very safely. There are only 8 tanks left, and I don't even have the turret upgrade, and I just think chances are they are going to be a whole lot more upgraded there. So I am just avoiding the fights. And that is really one way to play. It's perhaps not the most interesting way to play, but if you can get those little bit of damage and a little bit of collecting constantly and consistently throughout the game, then you actually end up with a rather generally successful round in terms of at least how far you get and how far you upgrade. The biggest problem with just using running away completely as a strategy is if there aren't drops being convenient, then you're not going to get upgraded and you're going to get to the last 3 or 4 tanks, and while that's good, you won't be able to compete for the win. But here I was in a rather difficult situation. I had 5 tanks pretty much surrounding me, and I didn't really know how to get out because, again, I don't have the upgraded gun yet, and I wanted to try force some people into a third party so I could go and attack them. So I see up here a couple of ravens fighting each other, and I decide, okay, well, let's use one of these airstrikes. I've got a bunch of them. I'll still have them for late game. Just going to auto aim, which is probably shouldn't have in that situation. And one of the other reasons why I won't be playing Steel Hunter much in this situation is the current connection issues to the Hong Kong server. It's not available on ANZ, and you can see my ping up in the top left is constantly about 240, which when you're fighting 1v1s is hard. So I go and decide to steal this kill drop from the other Raven who actually got the kill, and it gave me another fireball, which was very useful. Use the bridge to evade that guy. It's quite hard to shoot through there, and I see a 3 tanks down here which look like they're attacking each other, and I go, okay, maybe I can get some more damage, third party a little bit. There's a Huragan who's running away. See if I can put a shot into the rear using the APCR naturally for the shell velocity, particularly with the ping. You need the shell velocity. Trying to place a fireball. I actually thought I was trying to place an airstrike at the time. Or did I? Maybe I was trying to place a fireball. No, I was trying to place a fireball because I thought, look, there's only 7 tanks left and I got a couple of them, I may as well use them. And I get shot by a Varyag. 297 damage, probably not the mostly upgraded gun, but I felt like I could probably get a shot or 2 into him on my way out. But unfortunately, with my turret being damaged, that proved to be a little difficult. But at this point, I see an opening for me to be able to escape. I don't really want to stop in the middle of the map to collect an airdrop, which is, honestly, you'd think completely fine. But I'm just trying to get out of here, so I don't take the shots from the Huragan and I don't take the shots from the Varyag. And at this point, I'm feeling rather good. I'm almost up to level 7 and I have all of a good range of consumables and ammunition at this point. And one of the biggest things that I like about the double gun on this tank is the alpha damage. The alpha damage and the sustained DPM. I used to go for the machine gun, which is an amazing gun, by the way. But I often think these days on the Harlequin you need those extra hit points on the HP turret to compete, and the double gun is a really competitive option. So here I'm trying to get away from this Bailung. I know he's there, but I want to draw him into me. I don't want to get caught in a position where I am the one who feels like they're not in a good spot, and I want to bait him into chasing me rather than the other way around. At this point though, I am worried that the tank down the bottom is going to come up the stairs behind me, so I'm just going to try proxy spot them. I didn't manage to, but I did get spotted from somewhere down the bottom, but I scan and do see him fighting the other player. Unfortunately, this Bailung is full health and is shooting me, so I go zoom in and I do 537 damage to him. Keep in mind this thing does only have 490 alpha, but 537 is amazing. That's what this tank is good at. I will take 4 shots, place an airstrike, but unfortunately he doesn't keep driving forward. I was really hoping he would drive into that, but that is okay. Anyway, 1 good shot into the Bailung. I placed the fireball because I feel like at this point I'm probably going to get another 6 key upgrade if I kill that guy. And then I realized I probably didn't need to. Reloading, waiting for the other shell, and naturally I accidentally shoot the fireball. But it's okay, because that fireball does end up creating a bit of use. And Amaraks a bylung for me in a fiery, spectacular display. And at this point, get my heal back, I go in and get the last drop and see all the remaining tanks are fighting each other down the bottom, which is quite nice. So here's that Raven from earlier. I was like, okay, I may as well shoot him. Rolling for 378 is a bit of a low roll, but I was firing APCR, which does have 380 damage, so it's not that much of a low roll, I guess. Anyway, this Raven is just massively outplaying this Viag, so I do decide to wait for the shell, which I probably shouldn't have. Should have fired it when I had the shot. And now I go, okay. Here we have the discrepancy. We have two fully upgraded tanks, an Arlequin and the Raven. Played this game in two different styles. I have 4,300 damage. Spoiler alert, this dude has 15,000 damage and 9 kills at this point. This is the epitome of the two styles to play. The one running, looking for third parties, and the other one taking on those one-on-ones and absolutely snowballing the match. Which is going to win? We're both fully upgraded, we both have all of our consumables. At this point, my key is not letting the Raven get into a position where they can trap me, because I know that I will die if that is the case. I want to get the green one for the heal, and then I want to try and kite him. I know he's going to come at me, so I'm going to go around the other side of the houses. Unfortunately, my ping screws that shot, but I do manage to run away from him, unfortunately. Just going over there, but here I have an awesome opportunity. He is stuck, and I know it. I can place my fireball, I can place an airstrike, and that double whammy will get him down, hopefully a bit of hit points. But unfortunately, the airstrike misses and he heals. At this point, 1700 hit point Arlequin against a almost full health Raven, and I don't have my consumables. But fortunately for me, I am in the open. And here what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try bait him. I did not expect him to be coming down that way to me, but I needed to get out of the way, try and put a shot into his side, which unfortunately goes low. I didn't aim it as well as I could have, and I know that I cannot stay there for that airdrop. It will be a death trap. I need to try use the ridgelines, get away from him. Unfortunately, my auto-aim shot misses, and he gets shot into me, but I know if I can get behind this ridgeline, he won't be able to see me. Get the nice shot into him, use my heal just before the thing expires, just before the zone closes, so I can get that. And I know where he's going to be. He's going to come straight over the top. I get an airstrike ready, put it on top of him, aim one into the back, and there we go. A very nice win in the Arlequin. Now, I felt a little bit sorry for that guy. He had massive damage total. 15,300 in the end and 9 kills. I only had 5,600 on the 1 kill earlier. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get that kill on the Raven at the end. It was the zone, but hey, a win is a win. And I think this really highlights the two different ways that you can play this game. And spoiler alert, that enemy Raven was a really good player as well, so I was quite happy that I managed to take that one down. But yeah, two different styles of play, two different very valid ways of playing the game if you know what you're doing. Both are quite difficult to pull off. If you're a good player, probably looking for those 1v1s and medium tanks is going to be easier, but the Harlequin is an underrated tank. It is very nice, particularly with the double gun. You hit a lot harder than people expect you to. But the Raven, how that guy had it set up, is probably the most OP tank in the game. The armor upgrades, it just makes it very hard to pen. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one and have learned a little bit about the different ways that you can play Steel Hunter and the different ways that you can play each of the tanks. I think it's a really valuable thing to know how to do if you're planning on playing it, and it is definitely, there are definitely a couple of ways that you can get wins. It's not just a cookie cutter method, which is one of the great things about this game mode, even if it doesn't have the rewards this season. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, hope you've learned something, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.